Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Welcome everybody to the Bronx Sports Jedi Network with MMA Weekly Show with me, Austin, and Chef Dan. How you doing tonight, Chef Dan?
Salute to everyone in the chat. Salute to you, Austin. I'm doing great. Just ready to close out this year with some great UFC, some great MMA discussion. So I want to get right into it. Austin, how you doing?
Doing all right. Doing fine. My back's acting up, but it's whatever. I can deal with it. But yeah, that being said, definitely looking forward to doing this show tonight, especially since this is going to be a year in review. We look back on this past year in MMA, UFC, Bellator, and we have great discussions. And my dad should be joining us shortly. Just give him a few minutes, and he'll definitely come on here and definitely, give his thoughts on some of the subjects me and Dan are going to talk about. But before we break it down, just want to mention we're on podcast platforms, stream on Anchor FM, Spotify, Reason FM. As you can see, if you're watching this through video, you can see the links to our audio platforms. So if you want to listen to us but you're driving, you can listen to us on audio. Or if you want to listen to us instead of having YouTube drain your battery, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Anchor FM and these other platform sites. Excuse me. Sorry. But yeah, let's get started. Dan, so like I said, this is a year in review. We're just going to look back and give our thoughts on what we thought was, performance of the year, submission of the year, fight of the year, etc. And so it's exciting. I'm excited. So you want to start with submission of the year, Dan?
If you want to get let's get right into submission of the year. Give me some of the candidates and who, in what you may think are the submissions of the year.
Right, and submission of the year. Now, let me pull the banner here. As here's some 10 options. You got Julian Marquez against Mckee Pilato. You got Hamza Chimaev against Lili Jinglang, UFC 267. You had the Clay Guida submission or Leonardo Santos back in November of this year. Denizlo Makhachev against Drew Dover back in UFC 261, I believe. It was the March paper. I forget which one it was. Then you have Luke over Michael Chiesa back in August. Nunez against Miguel Anderson. Moreno, Renica choke Dixon Figueiredo to win the UFC flyweight title. And my dad's on live. Hello, Dad. How you doing tonight?
Good evening, gentlemen. I hope you guys are doing well. Chef Dan, you're looking comfortable. You're looking always sharp as always. And Austin, salute to you. Welcome, everyone, to the wonderful MMA Weekly with Austin and Chef Dan. Salute to you guys.
Salute to you, Jedi. How you doing?
I'm very well, doing well. Excited for a wonderful year of MMA fighting and a wonderful 6 months of covering the UFC with you guys. Phenomenal job, doing exciting, and I appreciate.
Most definitely. So we're just gonna let Austin continue with some of the candidates for submission of the year.
Right. I
Love
was just mentioning Bram Moreno against Davidson Figueiredo back in UFC 263. You got
Yeah, nah, but also mention some of the previous candidates before you died, before the Jedi got on.
Oh yeah, one of them was Miguel Anderson against Amanda Nunes when Nunes submitted Miguel Anderson back in UFC 260. I know in March there was 2 UFC pay-per-views. That's why I'm like blanking which one was. I probably should have wrote them down. My apologies there. Then you have Islam Makhachev against Drew Dober, and back in March. Then you had Khamzat Chimaev UFC 267 submitting Li Jingliang. You also have Coy Guida submitting Leon Santos back in November on one of the fight nights. And then you also have Julian Marquez against Mckee Pitolaro. That's some other candidates for submission of the year. Also, like I mentioned, Bram Moreno against Davidson Figueiredo. Not to repeat, and then Vicente Luque against Tyron Whitley back in August, not March, excuse me. I don't know why I say in August. They also got Andre Munoz against Jacare Souza back in UFC 262 in Houston, Texas, back in May as a candidate. And also another candidate, obviously, is Julia Pena submitting Amanda Nunes back in the last pay-per-view, UFC 269, just a couple of weeks ago. And those are some of your candidates for submissions of the year in the UFC. Now, who wants to start off giving their pick?
It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna go first then.
All
Okay.
right.
For me, honestly, out of all of them, there is only one submission. I mean, it isn't to say that any of them look less scary than the other, but just the way there's certain camera angles that happened this year, and the camera angle for this submission, it was caught lovely because it made the guy look almost dead. And that's Khamzat Chimaev versus Li Jingliang. Like that one was vicious. Li Jing, like you could see the consciousness leaving Li Jing's eyes as he's. That's all I gotta say.
No, good. That's a good choice.
That one was vicious. It was. Oh man, like I'm really remembering that camera angle of Hamzat's arms wrapped around Li Jing's neck, and he's cranking, and he's got all that strength locked in, and Li Jing's eyes are just like just glimmering, but like not there. That image is etched in my mind. Like Khamzat Chimaev is a dangerous individual.
Yes, he is. You're right. I do now. It's coming back to my mind now. That camera angle of Li Jingliang's face when he's getting submitted by Khamzat, and how and how you do see his consciousness slowly leaving him. And yeah, that is a good choice. I mean, that's in my top 3 in my submission of the year. Is that one because that was Khamzat's return fight after not being gone for a year and proved that he is one of the elite welterweights. And yeah, like I said, definitely a good choice. And Happy New Year's to you. I'm Jerome from Facebook, Jerome Peralta, one of our one of our listeners on Facebook at the moment.
And from the Philippines, Jerome. Happy New Year. I know you guys are from the Philippines. It's 12. Happy New Year's Eve for you guys. You guys will ring in the new year 12 hours before us here on the East Coast. So thank you, Jerome, for your support, your love that you have for all our platforms. And Happy New Year. A very prosperous 2022. Many blessings for you and your family. And here's to a wonderful year. And thank you for supporting 2021 and many blessings for 2022, my friend.
Definitely. And
Definitely.
Right, and I guess I'll go. Dan, anything else you want to say, Dan, before I give my submission of the year candidate?
Nah, that one takes the cake for me.
Okay, for me, submission of the year. Well, Domzad was a really good one. I was debating that, but for me, this is not that hard for me. No offense to the other ones. There were some great ones like Andre Munoz and Jacare Souza. I mean, he did break Jacare's arm. It was sad, but it's also kind of passing the torch from like one great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy to another. And that, that or Islam dominate Drew Dober in submission. But for me, I'll have to go with Juliana Pena against Amanda Nunes, just because of the magnitude of that submission, the fact that it was out of nowhere. I mean, we knew Juliana Pena's got good grappling, but the fact that she was able to make Amanda Nunes tap out, not many people saw that coming. Honestly, it's the reason why it's considered one of the big upsets in UFC history or MMA history. Pena being Nunes, and just for the sheer magnitude of it, I have to go with that one for submission of the year. Just because who was against and the magnitude of it. In fact, that Juliana Pena won the UFC bantamweight title as well. For me, Juliana Pena to me, Amanda Nunes for me is my submission of the year.
Okay. You cannot go wrong with that. I was trying to get a photo in there before you guys brought it up for those that are not watching. And it's funny because I have all my picks written down. And I was doing my research, and my submission of the year, and I'm gonna agree with Chef Dan on it, and that's my main man right there. Oof, Cosmith, like you said, you could see the consciousness going out and what a submission, what a fight on Fight Island, and he's such what stands out. You'll forget he took his opponent, he carried him across the ring. Called out Dana White. He called Dana White, put your phone down, take a look at this, and he then choked him out. That to me right there, my friends, submission of the year. Talk about a showman, closing out the show. This is why Khamzat Chimaev is to me the number one on my list for submission going forward.
Most definitely right there. So with that being said,
Chef Dan? Looks like Chef Dan's frozen at the moment.
Let me try to get a picture of Juliana Pena. So those who don't view us, we'll get to Juliana Pena. There's so many accolades in the evening with it. Chef Dan is frozen. Let's see if he gets back up and running. He should be back up and running.
Hopefully, yeah. Sorry, technology. We can do. I mean, I guess that wraps up submission of the year for us. You want to go ahead?
We can elaborate a couple of seconds. I know it was a tough decision. It was interesting because I also thought about the Amanda Nunes, Juliana Pena. That was my third, to be honest with you. Because you know me, I called which for those that don't, I actually called Amanda Nunes losing that fight. I actually had a feeling about it. And I didn't think it was going to be a submission. I thought it was going to be a knockout, to be honest with you. I was totally surprised that it was on a submission. And for those that don't know Juliana Pena, that's Juliana Pena fighting Amanda Nunes. So that's the winner for Austin of best submission. Let's bring in Dan and make sure he's okay if he's in with us.
Yeah, I'm good now. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties with the internet. But if we want to end that, we could get right into the next category. What's the next category we have, Austin?
You want to elaborate more, Dad, or?
No, we could go into that. I just was elaborating a little more so we could get. I like moving along with Chef Dan. So I'm glad Chef Dan is in there. So we just got him some time to get back in. So. Well, yeah, let's go to the next category.
We can do best newcomer of the year for 2021 UFC. Want to do that one? That's an interesting one.
There's two topics though: newcomer and I think UFC debut. And so we go newcomer top. Go go ahead. I'm ready. I'm ready for that one. Me, my top newcomer. I actually should have done this in two categories. I'm gonna take for the women's side. Top newcomer in the UFC for me is Erin Blanchfield, and because I'm gonna be a little biased, she just gave us a little bit of an interview. So I'm taking Erin Blanchfield. Plus, she dominated in that last fight. 22-year-old, 2 fights in the UFC, phenomenal. Who she's beating and who she's fighting. Top woman newcomer. And for the male side, I got Terence Mckenney. I'm totally impressed with him. I'm like, you know what? Because I could have went chalk, and I'll leave you guys to mention the other candidates. But Terence Mckenney to me is for the men's side. I'm like, okay, I'm really impressed with his newcomer to the UFC. So take it away, the next guy that wants to take the torch on your newcomer of the UFC.
I'll take it right away. That was an interesting way of putting it. I didn't think of it as female and male. That is a good way of doing it. So, I was gonna agree with you on Erin Blanchfield, but I was looking at the names we have here on the ticker. I gotta go with my girl Lupi Godinez. 5 fights in a year.
Yeah,
5 fights in a year, and she was trying to get a 6th one in if she could.
Yeah, you know what? You're right with that. You can't go wrong with that there. I didn't take consideration on that thought about the 5 fights. When I did it, like I said, I was a little biased because she blessed the program with a question and answer interview.
No, but also because the skill she's displayed.
Yeah.
Erin Blanchfield has been someone that I've said is a name that is gonna be in the lookout in her division, and not only that, but I thought that the matchup against Miranda Maverick, that was something that should have happened. It should happen again. It should happen again down the line because those two are so skilled, and I think Miranda's gonna come back a different fighter. But
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, as far as female newcomers, I gotta go with Lupi Godinez. The hunger and grit she's shown, and the changes and the elevation of skill she's shown, as far as between each fight. Her first 2 fights, she got a little comfortable with her style. The 3rd fight, I believe, no, her 4th fight, she lost due to her opponent truly mixing the martial arts, and so her last fight, her 5th fight, she decided to just truly mix in the martial arts and have a great showing, and so that's why I support her. On the male side, you guys know who I'm going with.
I do.
Paddy the Batty Pimblett. That guy, he's the new cash cow, as he says. Dana's calling his number. That's it. It is what it is. This guy is, oh man, not only did he show up with it's a couple of things. When you come out and say you're gonna knock out a guy within the 1st round, and then you actually do it, is one thing, right? But then all the hype that was surrounding him, and he just kind of he didn't play into it, but he didn't shy away from it either. Him being naturally who he is kind of why he has all the hype around him. So I'm very interested in where he goes from here. But Paddy the Batty Pimblett, that's my newcomer of the year on the male side.
That's a good choice. This one for me was actually kind of one of the more hard ones to pick. Now I thought about it, it was hard because there's a lot of good options. I mean, I didn't do female and male originally. That's my fault. But if I go female newcomer of the year, I would go Lupi Diaz just because there are 5 fights in a year. I think it was 5 fights in 8 months in total. It wasn't something crazy. And just for a fact she kept on fighting and kept on and she she lost her 4th fight. I think she was 4-1 or something like that. She for someone to fight 5 times in a year, especially a sport hard as mixed martial arts, and keep going and keep showing improvement and not take too much damage. And it's really it's hard not to be blown away by that or impressed, at least for that type of attitude and that mentality of hers. So she would definitely be my newcomer of the year for 2021. And for the male side, I mean, like I said, this was the hardest one because Patty Pimblett was a consideration. I was really thinking about him, and then and then also Michael Chandler too. Chandler was also another guy I was considering for newcomer because knocked out Dan Hooker in the first round, almost win the lightweight title against Charles Oliveira in May, and of course the Justin Gaethje fight, which we'll talk about more later, is probably more likely. But for me, I have to go Chris Curtis as my newcomer of the year.
Nice.
Chris Curtis, who, if you remember, it was a month. I think it was like a few weeks or a month's notice. He took the fight in Madison Square Garden against Phil Hawes. It was a quick notice. I forget how long, but he knocked out Phil Hawes, a guy who had a lot of hype going into that fight, who looked like he was a rising prospect in the UFC. And considering Chris Curtis had like at least 20 plus fights outside of UFC prior to making his UFC debut, and he took advantage of it at Madison Square Garden in the big, undercard of the big Covington Usman pay-per-view. And then a month later, he goes out and knocks out what's the other guy's name? He was another prospect in middleweight. I'm forgetting Chris Curtis's last opponent's name. I remember he was also a rising prospect in the middleweight division too.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Gave us a minute, but the fact he had 2 back-to-back knockouts, Chris Curtis, and was also 6-0 this year, and you count all MMA. For me, I have to go Chris Curtis. I mean, he's been upsetting. He's been making upsets and establishing his name as someone to watch out for in this middleweight weight class. So for me, my male newcomer year would definitely have to be Chris Curtis.
It was Brendan Allen.
There we go. That was the other guy he fought knocked out.
But that was very impressive, the 2 knockouts between Phil Hawes and Brendan Allen, especially the Phil Hawes knockout, because that felt like a comeback win.
Yeah, that's true. He was kind of losing that fight when you think about it. And the fact that he came back and beat Phil Hawes and he got the performance bonus too, definitely shout out to him.
Most definitely. Another, I want to also elaborate real quick on what with Rupi Godinez. I know she had a great volume of fights this year. You don't have to go for 5 fights again. That is going to be taxing on your body. You can pick and choose now. And not only that, you can spend a lot more time in training camp, selecting whatever skills you want to learn, whatever skills you want to upgrade, whatever qualities you want to upgrade, if you want to stay in your division or not, what weight class you're more comfortable in. You can do these.
Looks like Dan's freezing up again, technical difficulties. But yeah, I do agree with Dan and Lippy Godinez. Like she, 5 fights a year. You don't have to do it next year because, like I said, it's better. Take instead of 5, why not do 3 fights next year, just so you get more time training and gain better, and it's not as taxing on the body. Also, 3 fights, and plus you're still active. So I mean, I do agree with Chef Dan's sentiment there, as Dan's having technical difficulties at the moment.
And not only that, they stopped her for wanting a 6th fight. If you remember, she was like letting them know anyone drops out, COVID restriction, weight issues, last minute injury. She was ready, able, and ready to go for her 6th fight, trying to break Kevin Holland's record, fighting 6 fights in the calendar year, and she was ready to go. So I can see why Dan is excited, a newcomer, and giving her that accolades, and not a bad choice, Austin, for her going forward.
Yeah, you're right, definitely. And also want to shout some members of our chat. I mean, A to Z Media Network. Shout out to him.
Z in the building.
She in the building. Okay, Chef Muscles, referring to Chef Dan. Shout out to him, and also Epic Games. Shout out to him. And,
Z wants me to take the Christmas tree down. We got a couple more days. Don't worry, about 48 hours we'll be in the attic.
Does he not know the Puerto Rican tradition? I wish I could share the meme I found, but Batman Robin meme where Batman slaps Robin, said Christmas is over, and Batman slaps and says I'm Puerto Rican. Christmas don't end until mid-January.
It's true. In the Latin or Puerto Rican culture, it doesn't end until like almost almost the 20th of January.
Yeah, definitely. Crystal win here.
Let's bring Chef.
Yeah.
That's all right,
I'm
Chef
sorry.
Dan.
Nah, look, I gotta restart my router after this. I think it might be overheated. But the last thing I wanted to say with Loopy was like to spend more time in training camp. You sometimes a better product, like it isn't about the volume of fights. Sometimes, at this point now, we know you can, we know you're truly a fighter. You're gonna go in the ring multiple times when Dana White needs you. You're gonna be at his call. Now that's been certified and that's been shown for a full year. At this point now that you have that cachet, it's all about showing a better product. And if you can get more and more impressive finishes, now it's about making the most with what you're getting. If you get 3 fights this year and you finish them all in impressive fashion, you may move up the ranking like that. And so just do that. She's on
Well
the
said.
right track. Yeah, she's on the right track to contendership. But right now it's all about getting like showing a better showing a better fighter and getting more dynamic finishes. That's the
Eh,
one thing with the guys that climb up. If you want to do a slow and steady climb like a Derek Brunson, that's fine, but it has taken him a while. Also, a guy like Glover Teixeira, not trying to get the spectacular finish, trying to be technical all the way through. It's fine, but it's going to be a slower climb. But now that you've kind of built this cachet of being able to be the fighter at the beck and call and be a fighter who fights, multiple times, will be there in a week's notice, things of that nature. You now have the cachet to say, you know what? I want to take less fights, but now each fight that I'm stepping into, because I'm still, in the preliminaries, and you may give me a fighter that I may not feel, is within my class. I'm not gonna, complain about it on the phone or anything. I'll just take it, finish them in spectacular fashion, and then right after that, as soon as I do so, before you know the referee can raise my hand, I'm gonna turn right to you and tell you you gotta up the ante.
Well said.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess we'll transition to another category here. Let's see. Shoot, this is shoot. Let's see. What do you think we should do next? Because I'm debating between knockout of the year and for the UFC and
Hmm.
maybe and Bellator fight of the year. I'm debating between those two. Which one to do next?
Oh well, we got. What about the best newcomer in 2021 who made a big splash their first year? Well, we did that one. That was the newcomer of the year. There was another one. Hold on, newcomer. There's two. There was two category. Best newcomer to
And
Bellator. To
best debut or something, was it
the
best
back.
debut?
It was the best big made a big splash in their first year in UFC. And I guess you said Pimminton, and then they had the best newcomer in 2010. But it sounds redundant. It's a redundant case. Although one category. Yeah, it's a redundant.
I mean, it could. I'm not really, because I have a. If you're asking me that question, I know Loopy's my newcomer of the year, but my bigger splash is definitely Aaron Blanchfield. It's miles in ahead. She's made a bigger splash than Loopy Godinez. That's why Loopy is still in the preliminaries right now, and she's kind of in that position right now where you can end up being a Sean O'Malley.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying, Austin? Where like you kind of display your skill set so much on the preliminaries that they have no choice but to put you on the main card of certain fight. They'll start by testing you out, putting you on the main cards of fight nights and things of that nature. Soon enough, you might become a household name because hey, people want to see you. They want to see your fights. But it's all about doing the most with what you have now that you get it. But as far as bigger splash, oh my God, that fight against Miranda Maverick was crazy for Aaron Blanchfield.
Indeed.
Yeah, she dominated her. A girl that a lot of people, you would put Miranda Maverick in their top 5 fighters on the 25 list. Who actually dominated her the way she did. Who actually out to me, Dan, and most people who saw the Maverick and Marcy Barber fight thought Maverick should have won the fight. and the fact you go out there and dominate Miranda like that, it's just what I mean, it leaves you impression going, wow.
Dude, and not only that, I don't know if you remember this, the Sarah Alpar fight, her debut,
Mm-hmm.
it was vicious.
Right. And yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm starting to remember it now.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, like it. Oh my god. I hate saying, when you make a comparison and everyone just goes like, "Oh my gosh, he said this person's like this." It's not like that, but in reality, like her Sarah Alpar fight was it. God, it was bullet-esque.
Valentina Shevchenko-esque.
It was yeah, it was Shevchenko-esque. It was bullet-esque. Like, realistically looking at it, she did not let Alpar get one thing off. Every phase she dominated Sarah Alpar in. I remember that. I remember watching that fight going, yo, she's different. She's a name. They got to look out for her.
Yeah, and definitely with that, and of course, pride of New Jersey, train out of New York, New York. Erin Blanchfield will keep an eye on her career. And before we go forward, we have 75 watching us currently right now. We are an audience participation program. We will appreciate if you guys will participate. Ask your MMA questions or who you think are your fighters of the year. And if you agree, disagree, we're all more than welcome for debate in the chat. And let us know who you thought with these categories. And feel free to give us your opinion on fighters and you disagree or agree, or who you have in mind in these categories with these fights. You could put it in the chat. I also have that on our community board. We have also had the questions and answers, comment there as well. But we love the audience participation, and this is where we're at, and also gives us a feedback. So we salute to everyone, all the 79 that are viewing us, and we appreciate you guys.
Definitely. I'm thinking about, actually, the more I think about it, I'm actually gonna change my pick for a newcomer of the year. I originally for female, I originally went Lupe Godiaz for female, but I can't believe we haven't mentioned her yet. Casey O'Neill. She went 3-0 last year at Mayor UFC debut, and it's ranked number 15, and defeated Antonina Shevchenko, Valentina's sister. I mean, if you want to talk, I mean, she's a candidate for Impact. I'm not saying she's my pick for it, but we haven't mentioned her yet.
But she came. You said she debuted last year, right?
No. I mean, my bad. This year. I'm sorry. This year.
Oh.
I think it's I don't know why I'm thinking 2022 already. We're not there yet.
Yeah, but
February she debuted of this year.
Oh yeah, against Antonina.
Right. That's her last fight, but Sheena Dobson, she beat TKO just like she did against Antonina.
I don't know. She had a great fight. But to me, Erin Blanchfield. It was to me.
No. I'm saying for my women's newcomer of the year.
Yeah, for you. All right. So then for you, yeah. If you want to change it, yeah.
Go
ahead.
That's why I'm changing it too, because she went 3-0 this past year. Mary Day won all 3 fights by stoppages, so that's why I'm choosing her. Casey O'Neill is my women's newcomer of the year. I read her name, like, wait a minute, that's right. I feel like we should mention her, considering she's ranked now.
Where do you know what gym she fights out of?
I don't know.
Okay,
couldn't tell you. But she's undefeated, so she's doing well.
Yeah. So with that being said, do you want to move on to like Bellator?
Well, I got one there. The best male story of 2021. You'll feel good.
Oh, that's easy. This is an easy one. Glover Teixeira.
Yeah. Oh my God, a clean sweep. I got Glover Teixeira. It is written down in the notebook. Glover Teixeira at the age of 42. Persevering, fighting, overcoming, and man, I don't think the MMA world exploded. MMA Twitter, MMA everywhere, just exploded with him winning that title at that age, and not because of the age, his perseverance, his hard work, his dedication to the fight game, and putting what he put his body through for all those years, and coming up on top, never giving up. And man, that's UFC's version of George Foreman, if you ask me.
Yeah,
Without winning all the titles before, but yeah, what do you think of that, Austin?
that's a good analogy. You know, minus him when, you know, obviously he's unlike Foreman, he didn't win the UFC title prior to this past year. But if you know, I'm gonna do a quick synopsis of the Teixeira story. Teixeira was a well-known fighter in Brazil, somewhat like very popular in Brazil, but he had visa issues, couldn't fight in the United States. Was Chuck Liddell's training partner for a long time, and then I forgot 2012 or 20, yeah, I think it's 2012. He made his UFC debut after I'm trying to remember his age. What was his? He was like 33, I believe it was. Yeah. And he was really supposed to be on the first Ultimate Fighter season, but he couldn't make it because I said the visa issues. Then, you know, he wins like several fights in the UFC. He has a 20-fight win streak before he fights John Jones for the light heavyweight title back in 2014. Loses the fight, just gets dominated by John Jones. But then stays a contender, but then he has the 13-second knockout loss to Anthony Rumble Johnson, UFC 202. And then the Gustafsson fight where it looked like his time as a title contender literally was over after Gustafsson put a beating on him. But since that Gustafsson loss, it wasn't Go. It was, I think it was a Gustafsson loss. That was his last loss, or Corey Anderson's, one or two. He was able to put on some 5-fight winning streak, including a comeback victory against Anthony Smith where he was down 2-0. Finish him, then finishes Thiago Santos after Thiago drops him, and then he's able to fight Jan Blachowicz and able to submit him in the second round. And like I said, he becomes the oldest first-time UFC champion in history at 42, which is just incredible. I think at 42, he's still competing with these younger guys and beating them, and still elite fighter in his weight class, or elite athlete, period. I mean, for 42, it's really impressive. It's like kind of like how Tom Brady in the NFL is doing very well at 44, and yet Glover Teixeira at fighting still an elite athlete. It's hard not to feel good. I mean, that's to me the obvious feel good story, especially when you know those details about Glover's career.
Right, and Brazilian heritage, born and raised in Brazil, living now out of Connecticut in the East Coast. And what a good story. Everyone in UFC is so happy for him. Personally, I would love him to continue to defend his title in this upcoming year and just continue and want him to retire as a champion. It's funny. I want him to walk away and just relinquish the belt, similar to Mazamedov. Just, I'm going to retire and drop the belt and have an interim and elimination fight for an open fight title. I don't want to see him lose the fight, but that's what these warriors are. They're gladiators, they're warriors, and they're gonna fight until the very last, until their body can't give up anymore. But what a good feel-good story, male feel-good story, best story of 2021. And I want to ask you about the female best story of 2021. But let's give a minute for Chef Dan's router to reboot, and let's bring him back in, Austin, when you can. Bring him in, let him in, and
he's back.
Yeah. Fellas, what was the last discussion?
I'll just give a brief rundown of Glover's career, just explain people his ups and downs, from like the visa issues to which prevented him from being the first season Ultimate Fighter, to waiting until he was 33, get to the UFC, losing the John Jones title fight back in 2014, the Rumble loss and all that, just him climbing way back up and becoming the light heavyweight champion. Just to explain why it's so feel good for those of you, for those people who don't know the story of Glover Teixeira.
Yeah, I mean, but then I'm not gonna lie, a very close second is Charles Oliveira.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Indeed.
Charles Oliveira's story is a very close second. Coming from where he's come from, and what disease did he have growing up?
I forgot. It's some disease. I remember, like, I forgot.
But it was
I know.
something where like he wouldn't have been able to, just normally function as a human being, let alone enter combat sports. And so when he finally, kind of, fought through the disease and was able to train and everything, he got into martial arts, things of that nature. He got into some competitions. He lost along his way, but then he started to find his way. He's always a pillar in his community, giving back, and now here he is today, the champion, lightweight champion of the world. And so he's
Either story you couldn't go wrong.
you couldn't go wrong.
Oh yeah,
But
another
in
one.
Glover, what's another one?
Brian Moreno being the first Mexican-born champion in UFC
Yeah,
history, and after
Moreno's
being
another.
cut a couple years ago from the UFC.
Yep. And now that he's got that title, they keep playing that video when he said it right after his first win. It's like, I promise you, if not now, then in 4 years, but in some time, I will be the UFC champion.
Yep.
And he fulfilled it. He put, he put actions to his words.
And
Yes, he
let
did.
me ask you, a lot of candidate, who is your female best story of 2021? For me, I'm gonna go first on this one. For me, it's your champion Rose Namajunas. I think Rose not only winning the title and defending it against the same opponent, and it with style and phenomenal.
Concerning the fact she had lost it, and then she's able to, I guess, overcome the pressures of being champion and retain it and actually get the belt back. Considering before her, no female ever regained the belt after losing it.
Correct.
I can't find, yeah. And not only that, but her story right now is, at this point now, she's got the best story of 2021 so far, because now she's kind of in the moment of kind of cementing herself as a great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
everything.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. Go. No. It was.
All right. Yeah. Just last thing I want to say on her is everything after this. Everything after this point on, after this title defense against Zhang Weili that just happened, is just cementing, her case for GOAT.
Right. And no disrespect to Juliana Pena, phenomenal job what she did, because she beat the top and the best of the best. In our opinion, best woman pound for pound. And no disrespect for her, because she was a close second, but what Rose did and what she went through, and not just one, not beating Yang once, twice, and both times, just gave you the nut, just beat the Juliana, just beat you out just by a hair of a chinny chin chin, but doesn't mean that we're totally not respecting what you did, beating Amanda Nunes in the way you did, and where everyone thought it was the impossible. Everyone thought you were just a sacrificial lamb for the lioness to get devoured, and you overcame and you won. And don't feel that we're disrespecting her either, because she earned it. But we just got to give it a Rose, just this, in my opinion. Yeah, Austin.
Sorry about that, but for me, I do a Juliana. For me, just because of the story, and like I said, everyone thought she was a sacrificial lamb to Amanda to destroy. In fact, she was able to submit, beat Amanda and pull the upset and become the first mom champion UFC. Well, the first woman who was already a mom to become champion UFC. Obviously, Amanda was first, but she wasn't. But to do that, to also think something and consider, and also the fact that no one saw that coming, and the fact that she's able to do it. For me, I have to go Juliana, slightly above Rose. But although I agree, I can understand why you guys choose Rose for your females. Feel good story of the year.
Most def.
Before we'll leave Bellator for a little. Let's do the UFC and then we'll wrap up, because Bellator will be short.
Right.
Let's go with Listen, we're in the female sex. Best woman. Well, we just did the best woman fighter of 20. No, actually, it was the best feel good story. Now the best fighter for the women
The best fighter of the year.
of the year for a woman.
Women's fighter of the year.
For all of MMA or UFC?
UFC.
Okay.
UFC.
Oh, I'll go in. For me, I have to go with Valentina Shevchenko.
Go ahead. Talk about it. Go ahead.
Because I feel like Valentina's title performances, like she went like another level. Like the Andrade fight in April in Jacksonville, everyone thought that was gonna be her toughest opponent. That this was the one girl who can probably beat Valentina, and yet it was Valentina's greatest performance of her career, arguably. The way she just destroyed Andrade and bullied her, took her down, dominated her, finished her with TKO when everyone thought it was gonna be a challenge for her. And then against Lauren Murphy, she basically broke Lauren Murphy. I mean, Murphy was known for her toughness and greatness, and yet Lauren seemed lost against Valentina, and Valentina was able to, slowly but surely take her out and destroy her, and she was able to get the finish on her in the 4th round, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was 4th round. And like I said, her two top, I feel like Valentina, when we had thought maybe the gap might maybe close for her, she said nope, the gap still is where it is, like this wide. If you can to analogize it, if you can see on video, but for her dominant performances and the way she did it in her title defenses, I have to go with the bullet Valentina Shevchenko for my female fight of the year.
I didn't think. I forgot. It just passed me with Valentina. You could go no wrong with that. I actually took Juliana Pena there in that case because Rose was the feel good and the woman fighter of 2021 has to be Juliana. What she did, two. I think she won 2 fights in that calendar year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right.
And for the title and in the upset manner that she did, who she beat. To me, that's what helped her propel that. But Valentina was a close second with that. But Chef Dan, talk to me about your Valentina. Let's continue giving her roses because I know you want to elaborate about Valentina.
Valentina, the reason why I pick her for fight of the year is the dominant fashion that she's winning. It isn't like Amanda Nunes where it's about power, outpowering your opponent, and then after that, after some sheer outpower and outwilling, then you kind of display your skill. She's kind of just shown a gap of skill and timing and pacing and learning, and she's evolving and getting better as a champion. It's amazing. She's truly an MMA artist through and through, and I know Juliana beat Nunes, but Valentina could legit make a case for having 3 belts on herself right now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good point because she could possibly win 135, and if she wants to cut the weight, 115. I can see what you mean.
I mean, like I know Julia, like the whole business with Amanda and Juliana has to get settled, but like if it was like this, I believe Valentina could have beaten Amanda Nunes,
I agree.
gotten that belt, and then challenged her for her other belt.
Oh, 145. That's what you meant. Okay.
Yes. And then possibly would have been the first ever champ.
Maybe. I mean, I think maybe the weight might disparage maybe too much for Valentina. And in the 145, but I do agree that she could beat her 135, Amanda. Because I thought Valentina did beat Amanda the second fight, personally. They had. But yeah, I see what you mean. Like, if Vadim is showing Valentina's going to beat her easily. But I see what you mean. Valentina is so skillful that she can give most girls, not just all girls, at 125 problems, but also probably every girl at 135 a problem also.
Yeah, but then not only that, it's like, yo, she doesn't have to make the weight.
That's true.
Remember what Israel Adesanya was gonna do
Just show up.
with Jan Blachowicz. He kind of showed up at the same weight. He's like, yo, I'm gonna just give up the weight advantage. If she's comfortable like at 135, then she could give up the weight advantage and go, yeah, I beat her once and I'll do it again, and I want all 3 belts. She's that skilled. She was calling for the fight. She must have seen something she must have seen the same thing that Juliana saw.
Yeah.
I mean, if not her, then I know you gave it to Juliana Jedi, but if not her, then I would have had to gave it to Rose, because I'm not gonna lie, Rose did essentially what Juliana did, but Juliana still has one more step to go. She still has to do what Rose just did, and that's defend the title against that beast. You have to, you stop the beast once, you have to do it again.
Right, I agree with you, but it wasn't her fault that the calendar year
Yeah, the calendar year
expired.
ended. Yeah, the calendar year expired, but for me, I'd have to give it to Rose because she was in the opportunity to do it again, and she did it again.
Right. I didn't take Rose again because I gave it the feel good story of the year. I wanted to share the wealth and not totally disregard Juliana's Pena's accomplishments. That's my thought. Yeah.
I don't want to disregard it, but it's like, oh man, there was so much great performances by the females this year, especially the champions. But Rose, what she did, and like, I know, because it was such a surprising knockout of her and Zhang Wei Li, that it. I don't know what else to say. It was just surprising.
Yeah, it was.
It was surprising, and so the way she ended up, executing the second time around, that one was way more skillful. She took her time, and she really showed why she feels she's the best in the world.
Yeah, and so okay, so you and I are in agreement with Valentina for female fight of the year, right?
Yeah.
And then that you said Juliana
Pena.
Yeah, those are good choices. I mean, like I said, Julian's a good choice. Rose is a good choice also. I can understand why people give the Rose. But yeah, anything else you want to add before we move on to the next subject?
No, I think we covered Lesser Chef Dan. For me, I'm good.
No, yeah, I'm good.
All right. Since we did submission of the year, want to do knockout of the year?
Yeah. Let's get right into it.
Knockout of the year. Now, some of the choices of knockout of the year, you got Poirier against McGregor, the second fight back in January, Fight Island. Derek Lewis and Curtis Blades back in February with the uppercut from Derek Lewis. Chris Barnett and Gian Vellante at Madison Square Garden. Terence Mckenney against Matt Ferriola. Stipe and Francis Ngannou, the second fight back in March for the heavyweight title. Ignacio Bahamondes. Did I say it right?
Ignacio Bahamondes versus Roosevelt Roberts.
Bahamondes, yes. Rose Namajunas and Zhang Wei Li back in April, the first fight. Corey Sandhagen and Frankie Edgar back in February. Jerry Prohaska against Dominic Reyes and that spinning elbow back in May. Then Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal, the second fight back in April in Jacksonville. A lot of good choices in this one. This is not exactly the easy. This was also hard for me to decide. This was like this and the so this was a tough one for me to pick.
It was.
I mean, there's a lot of great options. You can't go wrong. I mean, I'm debating. I already got mine. Dan. I think you and I might be in agreement with this one, Dan. I think. You want me to go or you want to go?
Go ahead, Austin. The floor is yours.
I'm gonna go Yuri Prohaska against Dominic Reyes. The spinning elbow out of nowhere from that fight. It's crazy because Yuri had success early on, but it looked like Reyes was turning the corner in that fight, and he's starting to have his moments. And Yuri does that spinning elbow out and nowhere and just flatlines Reyes. I mean, it was just like, whoa, what the WTF? I mean, that just happened, and I couldn't believe it. It's like, especially see the still shot image of that knockout. Like, have you ever seen the picture of it, Dan? It looks really more brutal. You see what he did, Don Reyes' face. I mean, you haven't seen that? Go find it on the internet. It's very brutal. That image of Reyes getting hit that spinning elbow.
I've seen that. Oh my God, I've seen that.
That image is so nasty. But for me, I have to go with that one because it was just so violent out of nowhere and so freaking impressive. It was probably, my opinion, might have been the most impressive knockout, arguably, of all the knockouts I mentioned, arguably, because Corey Sandhagen against Frankie Edgar was impressive. That flying knee out of nowhere, and also even Chris Barnett against Gian Vellante, the spinning wheel kick out of nowhere was also impressive. But I think just for me, I have to go Yuri Prohaska against Dominic Reyes. For me, that left me impressed most out of all the knockouts, and also it's just so violent as well. I'll go that one. Just me personally. All these choices are good. It doesn't matter, in my opinion. All of them are good choices.
Okay, I've got, and I hate to say it because I'm a huge fan of this fighter, a big fan of him. Enjoy his fights. I enjoy his tweets. I enjoy, and it's just Kamal Usman knocking out my man Mazadov, because Mazadov was the reigning BMF, champ, game bred. I love you still, Mazadov. As a fighter, what you do, but man, I hope you come back strong and better than ever in 2022. But Kamal Usman gave you a 2-piece and a grape soda at the same time, man. Ugh.
He did. Yeah, that was bad. Especially his head went back and forth too, which made him. We got punched. If you ever see the replay of that knockout.
Yeah, no, you know what it is really.
Right.
When you realistically look at it, the thing that that kind of the thing that makes it really is all the sweat that pops off.
Yes.
That sweat, the beads of sweat, when it pops off, it makes it like, it's different. It makes the knockout way more pronounced.
Yeah, and it was out of nowhere. Well, it wasn't. It was like, he didn't. It wasn't like Kamaru would load up his punch either. He just threw it and just knocked out Masvidal too. I mean, I don't think anyone saw Masvidal getting knocked out, honestly, because I don't recall Masvidal getting knocked out in his previous fights prior to that one.
Nah, he wasn't. He wasn't. And that last fight that he had with
Kamaru.
Yeah, the last fight he had with Kamara was just toe stomping him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and chicken wing.
He was, but he made up for it in the second fight. I mean, he put stamp to let him know that Kamaru is the better fighter of the two by knocking him out.
Oh yeah, he made a statement, all right. So with that being said, I gotta say my knockout. Yeah, man, it's gotta be Yuri Prohaska and Dominic Reyes. That knockout is vicious. It's so vicious. Like it. Oh my God, the spinning back. Oh my God, and then how he has him just. It's different. It's different. It's so different and vicious and not even like. It's not funny or fun. It lets you know that this that knockout right there. It lets a lot of people know, if you ever think maybe I should go into UFC, try and get in the. Nah, man. for a different breed of individual. Stay home. Just stay home.
Yeah. Especially against someone like Yuri, who's like this weird hairstyle. I like to call it Czech samurai.
Like, yeah, these guys are not. I don't know how else to say it. They're not here to, I I don't know what to say, man. They're not here to tell stories with you and kick it with you after the fight. And in the fight, they're there to, they know they're liable to get hurt really bad and even not leave that cage. They're willing to do the same to you.
Right.
So it's like, like, I don't know. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show y'all something right now because I can't really share it. So I'm gonna make it my background.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there were a lot of great knockouts. All they're impressive in a different way, but it's like levels of impressive. If that's what I mean, like earlier, like I mean, obviously, Derek Lewis, the uppercut against Curtis Blades was impressive knockout. Considering you call him Blades shooting when Blades is a great wrestler, dropping him like that. Also, Chris Barnett, that spinning wheel kick against John Volante. I think it's got his size. You don't think got his size, the way he looks, would pull off that move. That
Most
kick,
definitely. Most definitely. Matter of fact, I know this guy is already on the list, but I want to make an honorable mention because this one kind of like, not because it was meme worthy, even though it was meme worthy, but my man's really did his thing in this fight, and that's Cheeto Vera versus Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
And he caught him with the vicious front kick. Look, stop. Look. I don't know why you do that. Why you do that, Kev? That's vicious. You're not supposed to, make fun of people like that. But my man, Cheeto Vera, man. When Cheeto Vera made him look like a duck.
That hurts. The Frankie Edgar fan, that hurts. He was winning the fight. He was doing well in that fight, and then grappling wise, and then you got Cheeto give Cheeto credit and with that front kick, that Anderson Silva-esque front kick.
That you say he was winning that fight.
He was doing. I mean, he was doing well, like, grappling wise. When he took Cheeto down, Cheeto didn't have any answers.
I could have seen where, in a way, Frankie Edgar was winning that fight too. In a way,
you were looking for points if he was winning that fight.
Yeah, on the mat and point wise, but we would never know because he had Affleck in his. He got Affleck.
Yes.
Oh my god!
Shout out Cheeto Vera though. His appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast recently is one of the more entertaining Rogan episodes with MMA fighter on. I was more entertaining than I thought it would be. If you ever listened to the Joe Rogan and the Cheeto Vera episode that Cheeto was on the podcast recently, very entertaining, super entertaining. Yeah, that one, that image, yeah.
That happened, ladies and gentlemen. But Cheeto Vera was vicious with that one. He was quite vicious. But that's an honorable mention that I want to put out there because that was very, very good by Cheeto Vera right there. But yeah, Yuri Prohaska versus Dominic Reyes. I mean, the samurai struck again.
Yeah. He did. Samurai struck again. I like to call him the Czech samurai. He looks like a samurai. And also Chris Dawkins and Shamil Abdurmakov. That's an honorable mention as well, where Shamil's split was just flying over the.
Yeah.
I mean that one.
Yeah. That's a good one too. I forgot that one, but that's a really good one.
Yeah, especially you see the split coming out, like a lot of spit. It's like, oof. I have to go. That's a good honorable mention as well. Chris Dawkins against Shamil Abdurmakov.
And matter of fact, you know who? Oh man, I gotta say this. You know who's also got to be honorable mentions? Two guys. Just any fight they've been in so far this year, because I know they've made them simply knockouts.
Who?
Joaquin Buckley,
Oh yeah.
Chaos Williams.
Yeah.
That's good point.
Chaos has had some vicious knockouts. The man said, sorry, I gotta repeat this. He said, they sleeping on me, that's fine. Let the doctor wake him up. That man is vicious. That's vicious.
That's one of the best pre-fight
That's,
quotes.
yeah, that's that's the best pre-fight quote I've ever heard. That's vicious. It don't get no better than that, ladies and gentlemen.
That's legendary stuff right there. Give a shout out to Chaos for that. But
Andre,
man.
salute to Andre in the building. Salute Andre.
Andre, salute to you, man. I know you wanted Dustin Poirier to win that fight, man. I wanted to talk with you on the breakdown after that fight to see what was your thoughts on the way he performed and everything. But salute to you, man. I want to know, Andre, like you tell me what's your I just want you said he sold your bag. Oh man, I'm guessing like you bet money on him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man.
Hate to say it, but Dustin folds when it really matters. I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, maybe early on, but there's some big fights that where he kind of passed the test. You know, the second all the way fight, even the second McGregor fight, because McGregor won that first round, but you know, he got hit with some shots, but he was able to knock out McGregor. And either Hooker fight, then Hooker fight was.
He lost 2 title shots.
It's the title shots. That's I'm not gonna lie. What Andre is saying with you losing the 2 title shots, but then after that, those are the big ones. Like I know you have the big fights and you have the big name fights, and those are the main events and all, but the titles give you consistent big names. That's the difference. We know you can fight the big names. Can you wrap that thing around your waist and then consistently get those big names, knowing that everyone's hunting after you? And then are you going to fight the next big name that is going to pop up in this, that, whatever? We know you can do that, but can you do that with the added pressure of knowing that those guys want that's around your waist? And I'm not going to lie, man, like, Andre, you got to tell me what you felt about that second round where he kind of just gave up bottom position to Oliveira. Like that one, like I don't know, Austin. You got to tell me, like that one right there. That let me like that moment right there was like, ugh, why are you doing this?
Yeah, it wasn't a great moment for Yeah, it wasn't a great moment for Poirier in that round, but I mean, maybe you might have a point, Andre, in the chat about Poirier not getting done the big and when it matters. Oh, to be fair, first fight was against Khabib, who ragdolls most fighters. Let's be honest. I mean, I get it. Poirier did have a moment to choke out Khabib, but still. I mean, I guess Andre in the chat also writes that Poirier didn't want to give us back. He looked defeated after the second round, Poirier against Oliveira. Yeah, he did. And that's a good point. Poirier did look defeated after the second round against Oliveira.
Yeah, because I thought when he took that like to that mat and kind of took that round off, I thought could he have injured something, pulled something, injured something, but nothing came out after the fight about him.
Yeah, nothing really came out after the fight about him being injured or anything. The one thing I could say that maybe kind of took the toll, yeah, Andre, he did have that look in his eyes, but the one thing that I could say maybe took the toll was all those knees that Oliveira was delivering in the in close quarters.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I didn't account for that in the in the the pre-fight breakdown. I did not think that Oliveira was going to come into the fight trying to land a whole bunch of knees in the clinch. But my thing was, why didn't Dustin Poirier try and take it? I mean, hindsight is 2020. That's why. But what I'd say is, watching that tape is you take advantage of that next time. If he wants to bring you in close for the knees, man, what gets there faster is an uppercut.
That's true.
Pull
Yeah.
his head down. Pull his head down so that his knees can't go up, but so high. Pull his head down, because obviously when Dustin gave him that big swing in the first round and knocked him to his knees, that let me, that pushed Charles Oliveira away. That kind of let me know that he had some power to him. At that point, you pull his head down, you go for for uppercuts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. That would have been perfect way to count those knees to buys, because Andre and Chad's right. Those knees were nasty, especially since he landed like 11 of those knees to Poirier that I recall. Before at least 11, probably more, that he landed on Poirier's body.
And not only that, that's in the beginning of the fight, so he has the energy to get them up there. It's not like it doesn't feel like a crunch the first time. The first couple of times that he's throwing that knee, he's throwing it with full energy, going like, yo, this is a weapon of mine. I can get you. And he was getting him. Like those, you're right, Andre. Those knees were nasty.
Right, definitely. And also, Andre, I'd like to know what's your knockout of the year, Andre, in the chat. If you had to come up with one, if you can come up with one, if you can't understand, I'd like to know your opinion. We thought was knockout in the UFC.
Ooh, that'd be very interesting.
Right. Well, I think as we wait for Andre in chat to give his answer, you think we should probably go to move on somewhere to another top category, or
Yeah,
Yeah, we
let's
could.
move on. Yeah.
let's do fight of the year.
And yeah, definitely. What are the candidates? Let's go.
Candidates for fight of the year are Oliveira, Michael Chandler back in May, UFC 262, if I'm mistaken. 26, yeah. TJ Dillashaw and Corey Sandhagen back in July on Fight Night. Santiago Ponzinibbio, Miguel Baeza back in, I want to say that was in May. Yeah, May of this year. Ricky Turcio against Brady Heisted. Edgar Barboza against Shane Burgos back in UFC 262 in Houston. Yuri Prohaska and Dominic Reyes back in May. Sandhagen and Corey Sandhagen and Pierre Yan back in UFC 267. Max Holloway and Yair Rodriguez back in November Fight Night. Alex Volkanovski and Brian Ortega back in UFC 266. And Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler UFC 268 Madison Square Garden. Thankfully got those names. I don't know why I was butchering them. But anyway, yeah, those are some options for fight of the year. And for me, this was not that hard of a choice. Surprisingly, it was Michael Chandler and Justin Gaethje, UFC 260 at Madison Square Garden. That was clean sweep. You guys in agreement? That what I heard?
Yeah, it's a clean sweep.
Clean sweep. That was the most violent, brutal, bloodiest fight. Both of them threw with nothing but intentions to hurt each other. I remember Michael Chandler wanted to drop Justin Gaethje on his head, but then Justin Gaethje had the wits about him to attach to his to Michael Chandler's ankle and then flip around and make the situation favorable for him. Like, these guys, it was
chaotic. I mean, Justin Gaethje's comment afterwards, how we're in the wrong times. We're meant to be in gladiator days and fight to our death. After the fight,
that fight literally, that fight set the tone not only for the events that night, but the events preceding. You couldn't come into the octagon now trying to do anything less than that.
yeah.
I remember Shane Burgos had a fight following that fight as well.
Yeah.
And he had a great fight. It was just that the crowd was so out of gas from just, oh my God, that first round.
First round. it looked like Gaethje was in trouble. Like he was about to get finished, and Chandler had. And there were moments, multiple times, where both guys looked like they were in trouble, like really, but they both managed to survive and show their toughness. I mean, it was that fight. Not only did it live up to the hype, it kind of exceeded the hype too. And those are like the most. Those fights are rare when you have fights exceed the hype. When it does that,
I'm not gonna lie, it exceeded the hype. Because I thought like it really like I'm really looking at it. I'm remembering that fight, and I'm just also remembering my hype for that fight and what I thought it was gonna be. It was everything I thought it was gonna be and some.
Yeah.
That first round was special, but that third round was special too.
There was. I mean, it was that image of Michael Chandler just walking forward, sticking his tongue out like this.
Yeah, saying,
bring it. I mean, there are a lot of images, moments from that fight that you remember. That I mean, like you said, Michael Chandler like almost dropping Gaethje in his head, but reversing position. Some will get Gaethje's leg kicks. I mean, there's a lot of things from that fight you remember. I mean, that we gotta say about the fight because we've been talking. I'll give you your thoughts.
No, it was exciting, especially for those that were novice UFC into the UFC, and let's face it, not everyone that's novice watches the prelims or the pre-prelims. We watched it. We watched the pre-prelims. Old card was phenomenal, that Yannis Square Garden card. But for newcomers, they buy the pay-per-view or they get together. They go to either Buffalo Wild Wings, wherever they're going to go. The first fights come on. It's about to start. Everyone's gathered together. 70% of the people are still sober, and having good food, and they see that. And like, holy moly, that's what this is about. They're new. Whoa, wow. And then it was one after the other. If UFC didn't gain a whole lot of followers, which you are telling me they didn't, I'm not gonna believe you. They must have just with that, and just that fight, the whole year, 45 events for UFC, and we'll touch on that a little later, but they were all phenomenal. There was maybe a couple that were little duds, of fights events, but other than that, when you're putting 97% of a product every week of action-packed violence and entertainment, and that's the fight of the year. So you can imagine what the war that these gladiators gave us. Awesome.
I don't know why the UFC doesn't do this, but you have literally one last weekend. Make a card of all these categories for best fights and best submissions and best knockouts, and for if you got a best fighter of the if you got a fighter of the year, then you make a card with his best fight, so forth, and you release it, because I would have loved to rewatch this fight. If they showed this fight on Saturday, if they let me know, hey, I know we ain't got a live card on here, but we're gonna give you Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje one more time, just for F's sake, just cause we're gonna start the New Year's off with a bang. Here's some more blood and gore. Enjoy. I'll be like, oh, thank you, Dana White, and Dean Thomas, and all of you good folks over at UFC, and ESPN too. Thank you to you too for giving me this. Oh my God.
And if it wasn't for copyright infringements and all that stuff, I would have put up and giving you the video and showing you some of the highlights of those fight of the years. But due to the fact that we're not allowed to show for copyright infringements on our video platform, those that are listening to us on our audio platforms, we salute you. We thank you in Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, anywhere, Google, Anchor FM, and everywhere you get your podcasts. We appreciate that's going to be listening to this there. We would have done this ourselves. We would have produced it. I would have love to cut all these videos of all the fight of the years, categories, 2-minute videos or whatever of the highlights of the fight and just showing it. But fortunately, we have our hands tied due to copyright infringements and laws, and which we respect, and we want to do it. But hey, if you're there, hashtag Dana White, we got us here. We'll do it for you, man. We'll put the time and work. Put us to work for you guys. Hey, hashtag give MMA Chef Dan and Austin from MMA Weekly a job at the MMA. We'll do it. We'll even Bronx Beer Jedi will do it. So hopefully this could get there. We get this viral. We'll cut the video. We'll do it if you allow us. If you give us the permission, we won't do a disservice to your product, which is the UFC, because we love it.
I want to ask you guys a question. I know it's a clean sweep. So what's your second choice?
Second choice for me, probably God, man, I really like that. Dang, geez. It's a tie between Ortega Volkanovski and Dillashaw and Sandhagen. For different reasons, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was fighting about that Sandhagen Dillashaw back in July. It was a really good fight there, but man, that was another one. But I'm gonna go with Ricky Gervais and Bradley Henstead, because that was the Dana White Contender Series. There was a lot on the line. One guy wanted the contract to be a UFC fighter, and it was pretty much survival, because those two guys, there's an opportunity to try to make generational changing money. Although I think both fighters will get signed and there'll be opportunity. But let's say if for some reason it didn't happen, the stakes were there, and that generational type of changing money with something that on a craft that they've been working on for years, fighting for survival, literally. And I think that's one was really close, in my opinion.
I'm not gonna lie, you and me, Jedi, we're thinking the same thing. That fight to me was, I'm not gonna lie, it's in the same vein of the Gagey Chandler fight to me, in the sense of both fighters came in there just throwing leather, just not like they had a disregard for defense, and they just came in there. I gotta finish you. I have to finish you, and I don't need this to go to the judge's decision. And it went to judge's decision, but you love a fight where, both fighters kind of go in there, after the third round, you go, yeah, these guys did not want it to go to the judge. It seems like they wanted a fourth and fifth round. They wanted to finish this.
Yeah. Absolutely. Good point. And well, I was just thinking, you mentioned earlier, like, why did the UFC just showcase the Gaethje Chandler fight again? Like, do like a special, you show like fight of the year, contenders for it, or like performance from like fight of the year and stuff like that. They did something like that. I remember 2016. Remember, you have the Toronto card. UFC 205 was in Madison Square Garden. The pay-per-view afterwards in Toronto that basically kind of like surprised everyone for being card of the year. That the Cub Swanson and Dong Ho Choi fight and the Holloway and Pez fight. I remember they aired that for free on Fox a few weeks afterwards on Christmas Day.
Yes, they did.
I remember that.
Yeah.
You're right. They should do that. I was just thinking that randomly. Then I remember that thing where they re-aired UFC 206. So they've done it before.
Maybe because it's ESPN who has the rights to air UFC fights, and it's bowl season. You got the college bowl football season up and down. All college basketball is up and running. And if you want to see the fights already, if you have the ESPN app, you just go on the ESPN app and watch the cards there. It's available whenever you want. And since Fox, they just looking for substance to put on free TV on Fox, over the air terrestrial broadcast, and ESPN. Well, you could say they could have done it on ABC. And Channel 7, in locally, and for those that are in New York, that's the number. But ABC affiliates, they could have done that, and they could have done a nice production, 2 hours, and cutting it down. I'm pretty sure you could have got, Paul Felder, with some other with another lady. Put on the young lady that does the interview. I forgot her name.
Megan Levy?
Megan Olive, yeah.
Megan Olive. And just so from a studios talk about different categories, man, female, and then hype up the upcoming heavyweight title fight, or Izzy Whitaker too, and done it on terrestrial broadcast on ABC. You're telling me on the 26th of December you could have done that. I know there was bowl season, and they also are affiliated to give some bowls and put some bowl games on, but I think that's what it is. I think college football, they're giving the spotlight to them, and I don't think they have any. You can't do it on New Year's Day because New Year's Day is going to be full of bowl games. And the college football playoff is tomorrow. You have bowl games. It's a whole bowl week. So I could see kind of why they do that, but maybe us as MMA community and fighters would want to ask that, give us something, and we want to see something, year in review. There should have been like an awards or I know something on that, and with some highlights. But it is what it is. I'm pretty sure that if we thought about it, the higher ups must have thought about it, and I think it has to do with that. The sponsorship, bowls, and scheduling conflicts.
I don't think they thought about it because realistically, I have some streaming apps on my phone, so I see the way they do channels do TV programming and things of that nature. And I'm not gonna lie, ever since the creation of Netflix and all these streaming apps, what channels do nowadays is they just binge shows. So like, yeah, we'll do a marathon of this show and then a marathon of this show, and then we might do this, that, whatever. The only time you ever see any type of like TV programming nowadays is when you see something like Adult Swim, where they're planning the way they want their shows put out and things of that nature. It's very rare nowadays that you do see TV programming. So I just don't think that the talent is there anymore in the higher ups to make TV programming. They used to care about TV programming, but then I guess, people got greedy, and then people didn't want to see what, people wanted to show with their ulterior motives. So that's where the streaming companies come into place. But now people are binging endlessly, but now there's no balance in between. So that's why I say they didn't have the talent to do so. But what I was thinking of, like literally how we have our categories right now, you have submission of the year. So that's a fight on the card. Then you have knockout of the year. That's a fight on the card. Then you have a fighter of the year. He has a fight during this year. That's a fight on the card. You have a honorable mention. He has a fight on the card as well. And they're not fighting tonight, Saturday night, but one of their old fights is streaming. And while you're doing that, like you said, Jedi, you have Megan O'Leary and Paul Felder there, and they're talking about these fights. And even you can have Daniel Cormier. He's doing a little detail. So now you're promoting detail and how he's, breaking down the fight, and you could see the different angles. And, it's a rerun, but also at the same time, you can promote as like, yeah, and you're going to see this guy in the next fight against, this person and so forth and so on. You promote the next year.
Right. And the thing is, I think that, like you said, binge watching and the apps, and that's a whole nother story. But there's folks, unfortunately, are working on the holiday season, security guards, or corporation guardsmen, or not just them in the hospitals, whatever case. And sometimes they could get an over the air feed. And I know I'm sounding outdated for my days, but if you put that on, like I said, ABC at a certain time and run it, and you don't have to have a subscription to it, and you could be able to get it. There's still people that are cutting the cord that still uses the digital over the air waves, and you're going to end up getting more people to watch.
Dude, if I owned a laundromat and I knew late at night ABC was running old UFC fights, I'd put that on the TVs.
Right.
People, if they doing laundry, 1, 2 a.m. in the morning or something like that, they're already laid up doing laundry. Might as well let them see some violence. They're gonna stay around in the laundry, man. Spend a couple more dollars, things of that nature.
Right. And the thing is, unfortunately, they take away. They don't allow us to view because we get copyright infringements, an opportunity to getting possibly the channel pulled. So we would love to do something good. Listen, this is the video, which is what we think. I would have loved to give you guys video footage, but it's out of our hands. where we don't have, someday we'll be able to. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The way we're growing, the way we work our butts off, we'll be able to. We would love to do that. We would like the idea to come, maybe next year, so whatever I have to do, whatever licenses and whatever channels, to do that I need. I'll work on that. That's a 2022 goal. But we'd love to give you footage and show you exactly what we're talking about, and not just giving you a visual, audio, but a visual look at it for those that are watching us in video. And man, I would have loved to give you. That's why sometimes I put the pictures. Those that are watching us on the YouTube, I try to put pictures of what it is, so you have a kind of a visual and so forth. I know some other are allowed because they are working with the UFC. They sanctioned, but we're not as an independent outside, and we're just covering because we're fans. This is from a fan to the fan. But that's a great idea going forward. I would love for them to just get. It's about growing the sport and the sport growing because it has a great product. Take advantage while the iron is hot. They have a great product, a great roster of fighters, and from featherweight, from all the way from strawweight, featherweight, all the way up to the heavyweight. Every division is stacked in UFC going forward.
Yeah.
Like I said, as far as the programming, the TV programming and things like that, I know the talent isn't there because it's easy to it's easy for me to say this. I know the options are there for me, when I go on ESPN Plus and things of that nature, but sometimes, if you just make a New Year's card for me, we're about to stream or we're about to give you a collection of, here's a playlist. Same way, Spotify, you can get all the music and everything, but now we're going to give you a curated playlist. Here's a New Year's card on this thing. It would be awesome to do that, but they don't. It is what it is.
It's going to be interesting because WWE is going to have the day one card on New Year's Day. Kind of like it's a pay-per-view on the Peacock, and those that have the Peacock app will watch it, live there, and whoever doesn't have it could pay it on the pay-per-view. And we're going to see. It'll be interesting to see the numbers. It's going to be interesting to see if they have success on that. And if they do, that's something that going forward, if UFC needs to keep an eye on that there. And I understand there's so much variety of holidays. There's so many X factors to it. You got holiday travels. You got people are going to be traveling, getting back to the routine. Holiday season's over. College football, the bowl games, and so forth. There's so many, and it's good. That's why I said it's going to be interesting. The eyeballs on WWE first day to see if they how big numbers they are. And personally, I think that would have been a situation where the UFC kind of messed up, but not really. But I understand why they want to give their fighters time with their family because these guys train like maniacs.
And the UFC staff in general that works for the organization as well too.
Oh right. Yeah, no, I'm not. Look. Like I said, it's not about I don't I don't want to make guys unnecessarily work if they have to. All I'm saying is, like I said, as me and Austin, we're fans. Sometimes because we break it down on Thursday, the fights are on Saturday. We sometimes rewatch certain fights in the middle of the week just to remind ourselves. With all the amazing product that's been going on all throughout the year, I don't know, maybe it's an injustice that they haven't curated some type of playlist because I know they've already nominated their fighters of the year and, they've nominated their submissions of the years and female fighters of the years and things of that nature. They have all their nominations and everything's out already. It doesn't hurt to say, hey, here's a reminder of all the great work that these fighters have done throughout the year. And here's some names. If you don't remember, remember them now. Because if they pop up on a main card, and you're like, wait, who's this guy? You now have a reminder. Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember earlier in March, he did something so spectacular. I had to see him on the main card in January.
Right. Well, that's a good conversation, and hopefully we'll join us on another podcast, not on the YouTube, but we'll do another podcast through the audio platform about more elaborating about the UFC, what we would like in a wish list type of deal. Check it out, Austin or Chef Dan or even both collaborate. They'll do some in 2022, look for them to do some more podcast only content of the UFC, what their thoughts or rant or agreement or whatever the case is. So keep an eye on that as well as the MMA program here. Maybe we'll be back. Hopefully in the winter time, we'll be back to prime time when there's no Knicks basketball. We'll keep. Oh, that's why hit that notification. Those that watch us in the rewind, we're gonna have a lot of big things coming forward with that. With that said, let's move on to the next subject, the next topic, next fight card of the year.
You said fight card of the year?
No, you give me the next subject.
Shoot. You know what? We might as well just do it.
Yeah.
What is the fight of the year?
Male or female?
We already did
the
female.
We haven't done male fight of the year.
Male fight of the year for the UFC.
There's you have several options. You got Charles Oliveira, you have Zero Gone, Kamaru Usman.
I'll take the. Yeah, go ahead. Give the nominees. So like
guys like Brand Moreno. Although, he only fought once this year. Some can argue, I mentioned Usman. Never mind. Go to Shera. Well, he fought once this year. Go to Shera, Israel Adesanya, Francis Ngannou. Islam Makhachev can get maybe some honorable mention.
Okay. I'm gonna go.
Dariush, yes.
Luke,
yeah, I like that Luke one. Bilal Muhammad, because he fought 4 times and went 3 wins, no losses, 1 defeat. 1 no contest.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Daniel. You had someone?
Yeah, I've got someone. I'm going with Cyril Gane. 3 wins. He beat Roboskov, Volkanov, and a man that we saw him close the card last week in knockout fashion, Derek Lewis. And this man, he just and very quiet. He came in, he fought these fights under the radar type of guy like Pepe Le Pew, quietly came in there and interim heavyweight title. I can't wait him against Francis Ngannou to fight. I can't wait to see that because I kind of like Cyril Gane. I am on his bandwagon, a fan.
That's a good choice. Dan, you have someone, or do you want? Oh.
You go ahead, because I'm gonna cop out.
This was somewhat a little bit hard choice. Charles Oliveira deserves an honor, could be because of excuse me. Charles Oliveira could be fired a year because he won the tag against Michael Chandler, finished him at their near getting finished in the Poirier fight, defended the title as well. Now he's on a 10-fight win streak, and he won 2 fights this year. You also got I mentioned Islam Makhachev going 3-0, finishing all of his opponents. Where it be Dan Hooker in October, or Drew Dober in March, or T.L. Moses in July could give you honorable mention. You also got some would argue maybe even Sean O'Malley going 3-0, although I wouldn't put him there, but he's an honorable mention going 3-0 this year. Also, I feel like there's another bantamweight I'm forgetting. Anyway, this was a close one because it was between Kamaru Usman and Zero Gane in terms of who can get fired the year. And like I said, this was it comes down to these 2 guys, just me personally. And I'm about to agree with my dad. I'll go Zero Gane slightly over Kamaru Usman, just slightly.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Slightly, like this close. Like, well, hang on. This was close. Like I said, this was a tough one. Shoot.
Just stick with it. That's fine. We gotta stay with it.
It's tough. It's not because Kamaru Usman definitely deserved respect for going 3-0 this year, finishing Gilbert Burns and finishing Jorge Masvidal and winning a competitive close fight with Colby Covington. His rival. Was able. He definitely deserves some credit for fighting 3 times this year to defend his belt. and winning and defending all successfully. You can give it. Kamaru Usman definitely deserves some love, but Zero Gone. I mean, he had a lot of hype going into this year. Like people were high on him, but he in the biggest fights he came through. Where it be Rosenstruck, he won the Volkov fight, which he totally dominated and outclassed Volkov standing up. And the Derek Lewis fight, he just with his movement and like his skill and precision, he just beat up Derek Lewis to a finish. Derek in Houston, and win the interim title. I mean, Zero Gone looks like a guy who could be a force in the heavyweight division. Because prior to this year, we had thought Stipe, Stipe was the champ. We thought it was going to be Stipe's era or Francis. It was going to be those two guys. Especially after Francis defeated Stipe, but Zero Gone emerged and it looks like a guy who could be the top heavyweight potentially for a long time. We got to see, obviously, 3 weeks from now in mid-January, what happens because Francis could beat him possibly. But we'll talk more about that when the week of the fight comes. And Zero Gone going 3-0 heavyweight division, becoming the next big thing in the UFC heavyweight division. I think for me, Zero Gone was one of my choice. Was my choice for fight of the year. It's so close. Like I said, Kamaru definitely deserves it. I mean, if you go with Kamaru Chef Dan, I totally understand. I mean, go ahead.
You guys are such lame ducks.
Okay.
Zero Gone. I understand he did some impressive things, right?
Right.
But to me, it is. I know we all said the same name between Kamaru Usman. Kamaru just had a dominant year,
Right.
and the things he showed all year, just kudos to him. But it's not Zero Gone. You guys are forgetting about Max Bless Holloway. You guys are forgetting that Calvin Kattar happened this January.
Yes.
It happened within the calendar year. That Calvin Kattar fight, that I'm the best boxer in the UFC, while he's talking to Daniel Cormier, dodging the man's punches. I'm the best boxer in the UFC.
And connected too. Don't forget he connected a punch on
And connecting punches. That happened this January. That really happened this year. So, and then he fought a game-bred Yair Rodriguez. Both fights, he's kind of, contending the number one contendership. All this time, he has a right to fight the champion like Dustin Poirier. The same way Dustin Poirier could have built the case for fighter of the year. If he beat Oliveira, he would have been
fighter of the year.
He would have been fighter of the year, no doubt, to everyone's eyes. And that's why I know Zero Gone did some impressive things. But man, Blessed was right there. He was the easy pick for y'all. I don't know how y'all missed Blessed.
The reason why I chose Gone over Blessed was because, obviously Gone fought one more fight than Blessed, but also the fact that he only had competitive fights. That's the only reason. I did forget about Max. But Max definitely deserves to be in fight of the year category because the Calvin Kattar fight. I think you and I both agree it was probably the greatest performance in UFC history. If we had a performance of the year, that's our performance of the year.
We didn't even talk about that. What was performance of the year?
Blessed Holloway.
It have to be that Calvin Kattar fight. I know the fight of the year is the Gaethje Chandler fight, but clearly stunting on him. I'm the best boxer in the UFC. I'm sorry. I know. Oh man. And Derek Lewis, he's top 5 in the heavyweight. And Volkov has done some things. But man, from Calvin Kattar to Yair Rodriguez, the caliber of competition is different.
I agree. The caliber is different. But those fights that Zero Gone fought, every one of those men could have give him nights out. And for him to beat those guys, that lights out guys, oof. I still going with Cyril
But I
Gane.
can say the same thing about Holloway. You fighting a guy in Yair Rodriguez, dude. Austin, you and me saw it.
Yeah.
He ate the uppercut elbow.
Yes.
He ate it. Like, bro, you don't
Knocked out.
eat an uppercut elbow. That's a knockout blow. Well, Max Holloway ate the uppercut elbow and said, "Come here. No, you still too close. I gotta give you some uppercuts myself."
Right.
I don't know, man.
Either
I
way,
think
it's a good choice.
It's a good choice. It's a good choice. I don't, I don't blame you guys for choosing Cyril Gane. You guys have been picking Cyril Gane all year, so ride the pick till the cows come home. It is what it is. I've been losing against that pick all year long. It is what it is. But I'm the only one who will be the antithesis of all that and say the Nigerian Nightmare is fighter of the year.
They're going Holloway. Going.
Nah, I just have to make a case for Holloway because
Okay.
I mean that Calvin Cater performance.
Right, but Nigerian Nightmare is your fight of the year.
Yeah, Nigerian Nightmare's got to be. I mean, like
knocking people out left and right, of course.
Yeah, Kobe Covington, Jorge Masvidal, Gilbert Burns. It's crazy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, the first two fights, like you said, he survived getting knocked down by Gilbert and was able to, by the end of that round, take control of that fight, if you remember, and then finish Gilbert in the third round. Yeah, third round was, I believe. Am I right about that? I think it was third round.
It might have been second or third round.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, finished Gilbert, and then who was his teammate? So you would think maybe that could be a tricky matchup fighting a former teammate who may know who's trained with you. But then going against Jorge Masvidal in a rematch and be able to knock him out, especially against a striker who Jorge, we all know, can knock anyone out at any given moment, to knock him out. And then even the Covington fight, although, he won early on, he was doing very well, but, the later rounds became more challenging, but Kamaru was able to fight smartly. He didn't get, I mentioned and we broke it down. Kamaru didn't get reckless with Kobe Covington.
He didn't get reckless. He didn't keep making the same mistakes. Like I'm not gonna lie, he showed the grit of a champion right there in the fourth and fifth round when he saw that Kobe was keying in on a certain pattern and the way he was throwing his punches. He started mixing the martial arts, and that was the key for Kamaru right there.
Also, he showed his toughness because Kobe did rock him in that fourth round. And he's able to survive and, finish the fight too. That's another thing also that he showed also his toughness as well in that fight. He didn't mix the martial arts, but he showed that he's able to persevere through adversity, which, like I said, besides Kobe Covington, not many fighters we've seen give Kamaru adversity besides Gilbert Burns in that early in the first round. When you think about it.
Yeah, but more so than that, I think, the fact that he was able to face all that adversity and still come out the champion, that's what speaks more volumes.
So we have it. We have the UFC in our the best of the best, different 2021. Thank you USC for entertaining us for that whole year. I can't wait. 45 events the UFC put up, third most in UFC history. Wow.
And I'm not gonna lie, this might have, as far as turnover and and new blood, new questions, and the exciting new fights that could be, this might have been the most exciting year. Might have been one of the most exciting years in the history of UFC, with having Conor come back twice. We had looking at it, we had 2 Conor matches. We had Nate Diaz. We had Nick Diaz return.
Yes.
We had titles defended out the yin yang. We crowned a 40-year-old champion. Like how much? What more? What?
And first Mexican-born champion. UFC finally got a Mexican-born champion.
Like it was a lot that was done. There was not much more I could ask for as a fan from the UFC. Thank you.
No.
Thank you to everyone in the UFC for all that you've done, the amazing shows that you put on. Like, honestly, from a fan that watches all the time and is just trying to just always support the cause. Thank you so much.
And definitely agree with you on that. We appreciate the UFC for entertaining us throughout the whole year, and look forward to continue supporting the UFC in all aspects, not just with merchandise, viewing the pay-per-views, buying the pay-per-views, keeping our stream apps, and continue talking about it, because that fight, that passion that these fighters give, and as us fans that cover it, we have that same passion back. So you know, so UFC, you got guys here that are going to continue speaking about you and have that passion in just not just UFC and MMA in general. So Austin, talk to us. What's next?
Yeah, I guess we can do top MMA fighters for Bellator, male and female. I mean, some of the mentions: Cheeto Pitbull, Vadim Nimkov, the lightweight champion; Yarmisar Angelov, the welterweight champion, 170; Gary Masasi, the middleweight champion; Chris Cyborg, women's featherweight champion; Ryan Bader's the current heavyweight champion and competed in the Grand Prix earlier this year. You got AJ Mckee, who was the featherweight champion; Douglas Lima, who fought this year and also MVP as well. Sergio Pettis, I think this. Yeah, oh, there he is, Sergio Pettis. You got Julian. Wait, I think I'm muted. Hello?
No, you're good. You're good.
No,
we
you're
hear
good.
you.
Nah, I'm just frozen. That's all. Okay,
Juliana
Velasquez, a women's flyweight champion. Yeah, I mean Bellator. I mean, for me, I had two guys for male fighter here in Bellator, and it was kind of a tricky one. It came down between AJ Mckee and Vadim Nimkov, and the reason why I had both of them is because Nimkov was the light heavyweight champion, came in the tournament and survived against Phil Davis, who always tends to give guys tough fights. Usually, you can't dominate Phil Davis typically, so I'd be able to beat him. Then against Julius Augustus, when short notice fight because he was supposed to fight Rumble, but Rumble had the medical issue, and he was able to dominate Julius Augustus. And I think for a lot of people, showcase why people are high on him, why I'm high on him, why I believe he's the best light heavyweight in the world currently, and definitely is a shot to prove that against Corey Anderson down the road. Because I know this year, next year, 2022, the light heavyweight tournament went between Corey Anderson and Nimkov for that title. And like I said, Nimkov, that approach of Fedor Emelianenko definitely reminds me a lot of Fedor's fighting styles and things like that, etc. And also AJ Mckee. I mean, AJ Mckee, he had a lot of hype. I mean, the guy's been highly touted since he was made his debut. His father was an MMA fighter, Antonio Mckee. A lot of fighters who've trained with AJ say he's been a sponge in MMA, been student the game the whole time, and he's undefeated. He's 18-0. Guy's never lost. And then for him to go against Pitbull, who was who has been Bellator for a while and was on a roll at that point. I mean, Pitbull is arguably he is a top 5 145 in all of MMA. If you count UFC, Bellator, etc., he's up there with Holloway and Volkanovski. And Mckee able to dominate Pitbull in that first round just to finish him, especially in Mckee in his hometown of Inglewood, California. That crowd, by the way, that crowd was electric when Mckee came out to Boy G thing. I mean, that crowd, that it was just a special moment seeing Mckee crowned the featherweight champion in that arena in that moment. And those are my two guys. I mean, Sergio Pettis definitely deserves honorable mention because he beat Juan Archuleta, and then despite losing against Horiguchi and getting dominated, he was able to pull a spinning back fist and knock out Horiguchi almost a month ago. And basically get out of Anthony Pettis' shadow, his older brother's shadow, and establish himself as I don't want to say his own fighter because he is his own fighter, but no the shadow of Anthony Pettis. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's those. I mean, for me, the more I think about it, I'm gonna go. I didn't know AJ Mckee only fought once. I'm about to give it AJ Mckee just because, like I said, he was the prodigy. He was he won the tournament. He beat the long-term champion Pitbull, and like I said, he finally he's undefeated and is able to win, especially that atmosphere in in his hometown. And that moment was very special. You can just it felt like a big moment in MMA watching that fight. Basically, if that makes sense.
No, it does. Chef Dan, your thoughts?
To me, my Bellator fighter of the year, I gotta give it to Gegard Mousasi. Just pros, skill elite, smooth in the ring, doesn't panic. He moves at his own pace. Sometimes that can be, troubling, but for this guy with the fight history that he's got, the experience, the wisdom, the fighter's IQ that he's got, he's a danger every time he steps into that octagon. And the fact that he's got the championship right now, I see no one being a threat to him in the near future right now. He's got that thing on lock. So for me, the male fighter of the year is Gegard Mousasi. Female fighter of the year, I gotta say, Chris Cyborg.
I agree.
I got a clean sweep on the female fighter of the year, Chris Cyborg, as well. Just dominating me for the male fighter of the year. I'm going with AJ Mckinney. The reason why he won that Grand Prix. Not only that, he's undefeated. He fought this tournament of Grand Prix, and it showed why you fight for passion of winning, continue to have a winning streak, and also for winning. He won $1 million, and he cream rises to the top, and he wanted. He showed that hunger, that determination, that grit, that he wanted to make that money. And that's what you fight. That's what most of these guys fight for. And I think Bellator male fighter of the year, AJ Mckinney. Now it'll be interesting to see Mckee to see how he's going to fight in his next coming fight. To me, after winning the Grand Prix, the title, and so forth, let's see how his next fight is going to be interesting to see going forward. So I think that wraps up the Bellator. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yes, and I think McKee's fighting on Pitbull in the rematch, so that'd be interesting to see how the rematch goes. So he beat Pitbull under 2 minutes. I think that's another thing. I mean, that's what makes it so impressive. He did less than 2 minutes. He just
dominated.
So he's on a rose, path right now where you have to prove it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And also, I'm glad you mentioned Gegard Mousasi because to me, I always say he's the most underrated fighter in MMA history. In my opinion, I think Gegard never gets enough credit. Considering the all-time great he is, considering all the guys, look at all the guys he beat, and you realize he's an all-time great fighter. He has to be discussed.
He has to be, yeah.
I mean, from UFC,
and his latest. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but his latest performance was it was so dominant. I enjoyed every bit of that. I want to watch more of him.
Me too. Can't wait to see Gegard fight again. I think he's supposed to be fighting in February, if I'm mistaken. So Austin Vandervoort. So that'd be exciting. But yeah, I think that covers the Bellator portion of it.
All right. Well, before we could wrap up, I got a few boxing awards. No multiple choice. I'm just gonna go what the writers gave out for boxing. I like to cover boxing. Let's start with a women's fight of the year was Meyer and Hamaduk. That's for top ranked boxing. You also had a women's fighter of the year. Salute to Brooklyn's own Amanda Serrano for winning women's fighter of the year. For the ring, the feud of the year goes to Tyson Fury and Wilder
Makes sense.
Phenomenal. The best prospect of the year, Xander Zayas. Xander Zayas, top rank also, prospect of the year. So keep an eye out for him. Upcoming boxing fans, for all those that we do cover the boxing. The biggest upset of the year, none other than Cambosa beating my man Teofimo Lopez in the Garden, in the theater in the Madison Square Garden. Man, that hurted me because I was a big fan of his. I want to salute the trainer of the year, Eddie Rosano, for being a boxing's trainer of the year. That's a good accolade because I always say you go as far as your corner goes, and I don't know why in the hell they gave this as knockout of the year to Mr. Dude Wipe, falling up head face down, head ass up. So one of the Jake Paul got the knockout of the year.
Nah, I'm done. I'm done. Good night. Good night.
¿Qué pasó? Yeah.
Exactly. And then the men's fight of the year is Wilder Fury 3.
Yes, of course.
Well deserved men's fighter of the year is to the undefeated, unified super middleweight champion of the world, Mexico-owned Canelo Saul Alvarez, for winning Man Fighter of the Year. Salute to you for winning that fight. It's interesting to see now he's going to go up in weight class. What 2022 has in store for Canelo Alvarez. A must-see TV when he boxes, or must-see event when he fights. So it'll be interesting going forward. Any thoughts on the boxing besides the dude wipes?
Jake Paul. I mean,
well, we could call them dude wipes, because that's what they are, a bunch of dude wipes.
I guess. Well, all right. Yeah. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, what's his name? Bert Sugar. That's the legendary boxing trainer. It was the guy. Bert Sugar rolling over his grave, seeing that. Customado in his grave.
Customado would roll in his grave, man.
And great boxing. Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to also touch, since we cover MMA, I just also want to salute Abigail Montes. Abigail Montes is a PFL fighter, women's lightweight champion, took on in October, the 27th of October, and beat Clarissa Shields. Clarissa Shields, well-known boxing fighter, and she went and took care and beat her in the Hard Rock in Miami, Florida. So I wanted to salute Abigail Montes for winning that at the PFL champion. And one more that I wanted to give credit and accolade for, to me, outside of the UFC, outside of the MMA, is going for women's strawweight Emily Ducats with the knockout outside of the MMA, in the MMA world, for her knockout that she did, in her title, capturing the title. What a knockout! That's in our promo videos, taking the title away, and salute for her and for her good job of winning that fight.
Shamir opponent freeze. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
Excellent. Any other fighters outside of the UFC that you also that you might think of that keep an eye out? Of course, we all have the main lady, PFL heavyweight champion, Taylor Harris. She's a free agent.
I mean, lightweight.
Light heavyweight. Did I say heavyweight?
Yeah.
That's a force of slip of the tongue. Light heavyweight champion, Clarissa Harris. Yeah, light heavyweight. Lightweight. See, I'm used to the WWE with all that. Well, with the lightweight champion, Clarissa Harris, she's a free agent to see if any, out there, we'll see. And we'll see if Clarissa Shields fights Montes as a rematch for PFL. There's also good fights there. Those we don't talk too much about them. We don't watch. There's so much content to watch with the UFC, but we keep an eye on it. And anything that has to do with fights and combat sports, we keep an eye on, and we watch. And hopefully, we'll be able to interview a few of the PFL fighters if ESPN allows them to come on and talk with us.
I do want to mention someone from One Championship. I want to mention Adriano Morales, the one bantamweight champion. For those of you who don't know, this past year he became the first fighter to finish and knock out Demetrius Johnson back in April, and he is the one bantamweight champion. And like I said, to be able to finish Demetrius Johnson, who's, well, as anyone knows, he's an all-time great. I mean, greatest fighters of all time. DJ's got to be mentioned.
Yeah, Mighty Mouse is a GOAT.
Yeah, and for him to finish DJ, be the first fighter to actually do it, is, it's really it was shocking. I mean, that's one of the more shocking moments of the year for me, seeing DJ get not finished. And Adriano Morales, to finish his title and making it, basically this was a career fight for him. Being Demetrius Johnson definitely elevates his name. So shout out to him, the Adriano Morales, the One Championship bantamweight champion.
Most definitely.
Yeah. With that said, any fighters at all that you think of, keep an eye out, up and coming, that would have outside of an organization that might make an impact. Besides Kayla Harris, I think is the only one that is be interesting. Which route she fights, if she wants to fight Cyborg or get into the UFC, Pena Nunez. But we could break that down that's content for another time. But just that's something to continue watch it, keep an eye out. Follow us on the audio platforms because we'll have podcasts about that and the longer discussions. I know it's getting a little late, so we want to wrap up here. My final thoughts before I hand it off to the gentlemen here, because they'll close out their program. I want to thank everyone for a successful 2021 MMA weekly. It started off as just a 20-second set or 2 minute, 2 minute, then it went to a 20-minute segment with Austin on the BX Jedi 76 sports channel, and it just turned out to his own program. Austin weekly with myself, and then we were 3-4 shows later we were blessed with Chef Dan, and it took off. Austin and Chef Dan MMA weekly, and doing a good job. Two young gentlemen that has a passion for the MMA world. I want to thank you guys both for the passion that you bring and the passion you watch and cover the MMA, and also translates it on this platform. And we appreciate it, and I personally want to thank you guys. And here's for a good 2021, but a greater 2022. And also, before I come off the air, I want to thank Big Sexy Billy Swanson for being our first MMA guest coming on, and graciously, after fighting on Bellator card, he on Friday night, and then he came on right there in the same exact week on Thursday. He was here, gracious. He gave us 45 to an hour of his time, and we appreciate him for joining us on the stream, talking it up, chopping it up, telling us about his Chattanooga, his college, and now good things for you, Billy Swanson, in 2022. Many blessings, many good things for you, fortune. And I hope that your league that you're funding and that you're starting and being a part of takes off, and be part of our coverage here with next to Bellator, UFC, and Chattanooga fighting. Don't know the name of it, so I'm just thinking.
It's All or Nothing Fights. All or Nothing Fights. All or Nothing Fights are located in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
All or Nothing Fights. So All or Nothing Fights for Billy Swanson. So we're gonna hashtag it. Please go check it out. All or Nothing Fights. Find Billy Swanson at aka Big Sexy. Tell him we sent you. Tell him and let's encourage him. Give him positive feedback, because he's a really good, nice guy. And he's got a hard fighter. It looks like everything he has achieved has been through the same way he fights in the ring. Hard work, dedication, and he gets knocked down, but he gets back up. So I want to thank Billy Swanson for giving us, actually one of the highlights of 2021. I want to thank also Evan Blanchfield for that question and answer, and of course the legendary Bruce Buffer. Don't forget, I am going to try to reach out to your people. I know you have some projects coming up, but I keep, never anything can happen. Hopefully, cross our fingers, you'll have us join us live here on a stream. Will be phenomenal just to talk for 15 minutes with you, and it's going to happen. Believe it, we'll do it. And guys, I want to thank everyone, and I'm going to leave these guys to close the program. So thank you guys. Happy New Year, and we'll talk next time.
I just want to say, with that being said, I hope everyone enjoys their New Year's. Enjoy it with your family. A lot happened this year, a lot to be thankful for, a lot to kind of shed past and leave behind in 2021, but we move forward. Time moves forward, and so must we. So with that being said, we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to, over here on the BX Sports Jedi Network, we're going to keep doing bigger and better things and keep bringing a better product all for you guys so that we can keep enjoying together. We just want more fans in the chat and have more conversations with you guys. Andre, a first consistent chat guy that we've seen other than Robert Parr. So salute to you, man. And we want to hopefully see you next year. Salute to you. We hope you're safe with you and yours. And, I want to see you here next year. So with that, have a good night, everyone, and have a good year. Austin, what do you have to say?
Well, thank you everyone for watching us through the whole year. Like Dad mentioned, it just starts a 2-minute clip between 2 minutes of talking, then it was me, for 2 minutes, and it was like 20-minute segment when he was on the his old channel, the BX Jedi. I'm forgetting the name now, But then it turned to just me and him, and then thankfully Dan was able to join us. Like they said, 3 shows later, not that long, you joined us, and it's just taking off from here. Which thank you, Dan, for for joining me, and thank you guys for everyone's watching us and listening to us on audio platforms or watches afterwards, and all the people watch us live. And salute to you, Andre, for being a consistent guy. You and Robert Paul for being consistent guys in the chat. And thank you for everyone who watches us, who listens to us. Considering there's a lot of MMA platforms out there, and you guys choose to listen to us, so we're definitely grateful for that. And whether it be me, Chef Dan, or my dad, definitely appreciative of that. And here's the 2021 has a lot of great moments, great year, good moments, bad moments, but mostly good, especially during this show. And 2022 is going to be just as good, if not better. And I can't wait to do the shows, break down the fights, and hopefully have more guests on. I mean, like I said, thank you to Billy Swanson for coming on. Thank you, Aaron Blanchfield and Bruce Buffer for doing the Q&A. Like I said, we will probably interview one of them. Like, hopefully, it will happen. We're going to interview some people. It's going to take time, but when we do it, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be a great time. And Happy New Year's, guys. Stay safe. Have a good time. He said don't do anything stupid in New Year's. And I'm going to end it here. And thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share the video. Give the video likes. And thank you all for watching us. And we'll see you next week or next year, technically. And we are out. Goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are